industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100 plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100 plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality.
Hello everyone, a very warm welcome back to all of you in one more impactful session of Learning and Development webinar. My name is Pratibha and I'll be your moderator today. So if at any point you have any question or if you want to know more regarding the GSDC or if you would like to connect with our speaker regarding any query, please feel free to use the chat box. So let's start with today's session. I hope you're all ready for that. So just allow me a minute to share my screen. Meanwhile, please do let us know from where you guys are watching. So on behalf of the Global Skill Development Council, I'm truly delighted to welcome you all into the GSDC Certified Learning, the Learning and Development Reset, Redefining Skills, Strategies, and Business Impact for the year ahead, designing future-ready skills that drive impact. And one of the things which make this webinar so amazing is the expert panel we have lined up for you. Some of them have already delivered a very incredible and insightful sessions, and others are all too set to bring in more powerful ideas. So for those who have joined with us for the very first time, let me give you a quick introduction who we are. Global Skill Development Council is a globally recognized certification body. We are accredited by APICB. Till yet, we have a 250,000 professionals certified with us. We are associated with 500 plus subject matter experts who contribute to our program. We are also partnered with 100 plus training providers across globe. We are also associated with 1,000 plus multinational companies and 50 plus universities worldwide. So these are the training partners who are associated with us from the Asia, Africa, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, Singapore, and many other countries. So a special thanks to all training partners for helping us improving our program. And a very special thank you to our media partner, WordPress Hub, for covering all of our press releases and event releases. So, before starting the session, I just wanted to make a quick announcement that we have just launched a very unique platform called GSDC AI Studio, Lifelong Learning Initiative. In the AI Studio, you're going to get 100 plus live monthly sessions with global expert, including 4 daily sessions, 45-minute live expert lead session for hands-on learning, sessions from global expert. You can learn directly from our AI leaders around the world, real time practice. You can apply concept immediately and get your question answered. Certification ready. You will be getting the training aligned with industry standard for job ready skills. So do you want to know how you can get the benefit of GSDC AI Studio? Well, let me tell you. So there are three ways. First, you have a free 14-day access in which you will be getting 80 plus live session per month and access to full GSTC studio. Second, you have a GSTC lifelong membership. You will be upgrading to Pro in $109 and you will be getting the lifetime access of 80 plus live session per month, access to full GSTC studio, free GSDC membership, access to physical events, LinkedIn profile improver. Last but not the least, we have GSTC certification plus lifetime membership. So now participant, this offer is for a very limited time of period. So make sure you're taking the advantage of it because you're getting the lifetime access of GSTC certification, all benefits of lifetime membership, personalized coaching, capstone projects plus AI tool, GSTC Copilot, and competency assessment tool. And all of this in $100 only. So what are you waiting for? Take the advantage of this offer and become one of the part of GSTC AI Studio. And currently we are covering 100% certification in our portfolio, including the learning and development, HR, Gen AI, agentic AI, emerging technologies, ISO lead auditor and implementer, project management and PMO, Agile DevOps and SRE, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and many more. But once you get certified with GSDC, you just don't walk away with the certification. You also become a part of our community, which comes with GSDC membership benefits, including lifelong membership, certification upgrade, workshop, boot camps, learning club access, also the full benefit of GSDC AI Studio, and many more. So, with that, it's time to welcome our today's speaker. Today we have Sheena with us. So, Sheena is a seasoned learning and leadership development professional with 16 years of experience across global organizations as a certified learning and development strategist, simulation facilitator, and high impact presenter. She brings deep expertise in designing transformative learning programs, building leadership capability, and driving organizational change. Sheena has led strategic learning initiative across India and global markets, delivering measurable business outcomes and shaping future-ready talent through innovative and data-driven learning architectures. Her leadership excellence is reflected in her ability to influence culture, enable change, and architecture learning ecosystem that scale. And today she is going to lead the session on mastering digital learning delivery, techniques for engaging remote learners, and overcoming virtual learning challenges. But before handing over the virtual mic, just a quick reminder. If you have any query regarding the GSDC, or if you would like to connect with Sheena in middle of the session or end of the session with any question, any guidance, please feel free to use the chat box. Once again, don't be shy, drop your reactions, emoji, and quick comment into the chat. That's how we know you're with us, actively listening and absorbing from this insightful session. Also, we have an announcement to make. We have prepared some new things for upcoming session, and also we will telling you regarding the $400 What Give certification voucher. So please hang till end of today's session for getting to know more about that. With that, it's time to welcome Sheena on our platform. Thank you so much, Sheena, for once again coming on our platform. We are very honored to have you as our speaker. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Pratibha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I hope all of you are doing well. Let's begin. I mean, it's not a session of sorts, it's a discussion, and I would invite all of you to kind of contribute to the discussion. So before we get going, I'm just curious to understand how many of you in the audience here have facilitated sessions before? How many of you have facilitated sessions before? You could just ping your response up on the chat window here. I'm just curious to know how many facilitators do we have in the group? Interesting. All right, we have some of you facilitated, some of you who've not facilitated. Do not worry about it. Whatever we talk about is important in everyday life as well. So let's ensure that you contribute from your side as well, because all of you are already experienced. So I think it's going to be a fantastic conversation up ahead. Okay, I'm going to get started with one more question while Pratibha is going to bring up the screen for us. So the first question that I have for you is, in the last month, how many virtual sessions did you attend, and were you truly engaged? So my question is, in the last month, how many virtual sessions did you attend where you were actually engaged and just not present? So I want you to give me in terms of numbers. So that's the question. I've pinged that in the chat as well. So tell me, I would like you to go back and reflect and think about certain sessions that you've attended where it actually mattered. Okay, 1, 2. And if your answer is 0, you're invited to say 0 as well. All right. Okay, Surabhi saying outside GSDC 2 out of 10. Sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your responses. I always ask this question in most of the workshop, and every time the answer is almost the same. People attend sessions, but not all of them are engaged. There is definitely a gap. And that gap is what experience design would close. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in the couple of next minutes. And on that note, I would welcome all of you to the session, Mastering Digital Learning Delivery. And, there will be a couple of interactions that we would like you to kind of be a part of. Like we started with a question, there's going to be a poll that's going to come your way as well, just to understand your take of the story so that we can take our story accordingly. All right. So Pratibha is going to help us pop a poll, and I would like you to kind of take some time to respond to that as well, please.
Shina, I have launched the poll. Is it
Yes,
visible?
it is
Thank you.
visible. Yes. In your recent virtual sessions, what has frustrated you the most? Well, in the previous question, you all did tell us that you attended 1, 2, 3, depending on how many, whatever stood out. Now the question is a little deep. In your recent virtual session, what has frustrated you the most as a facilitator? Learners multitasking, low participation or awkward silences, tech issues, audio bandwidth lag, or is it overloading content, not enough retention? So we'll give it a couple of seconds to kind of understand where we're trending. Prabhakar says it's a combination of all, actually. Yeah, true, absolutely true, Prabhakar. Sometimes it's all of it. Girish is saying, okay, why don't I select multiple options? Poll is only allowing one single option to select. But then I think, Girish, you can pick up the most affected, and then probably we understand that the remaining also would play its role. Okay, so we have decent numbers. I'm going to end the poll right now. Oh, Pratibha, please end the poll. Let's look at the results. So the result says low participation or awkward silences, followed by learners multitasking or dropping off. So there's no way that we can go back and control the folks who are actually participating, but there's quite a lot that we can actually do. Right? So what you'll have just shared is exactly why digital delivery today is no longer about pushing the content. It's not about your content anymore. It's about experience designing. To what extent can we go back and design the experience so that it gets called out for all the right reasons. And that's exactly what we will be mastering in this session as well. So let's move to the next slide. And this talks about something really interesting. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Yes, it says digital learning fails when facilitation doesn't evolve. When a learning experience is not well designed, the problem become much more obvious and much more painful in a virtual environment than it would be in the physical classroom. I repeat, when a learning experience is not well designed, it's pretty obvious that it's going to look very painful and would absolutely fall flat in a virtual setup. Maybe in a physical classroom, things can probably change because you're having human interactions. There could be ways you could probably do the damage control, but be rest assured, if your experience, if your learning experience is not designed well, then you know for a fact that virtual format will not allow you to hide the flaws. It would just magnify them. And what the reality, the sad reality is that the virtual session would absolutely amplify the poor design, because slides don't create learning anymore. Gone are those days. Your beautiful, amazing slides don't create learning anymore. It's the kind of experiences. So when you are expected to be curating that design, learning design for the audience, it's important for us to keep in the mind that experience matter. It is about the experience, absolutely. So look at the other side of the slide, where we've called out three important, statements that will probably disrupt what we're saying. How does digital learning absolutely fail? The first one that we're talking about is attention spans shrinking. I'm just curious to understand. Do you all agree to that? Do you all agree that attention spans are shrinking right now? Yes, you could give me a thumbs up or a yes on the chat window. Do you all agree? Yeah, absolutely. Now, my next question to you is, what do you think is the average human attention span? What is the average attention span of a human being? And this is as per the 2025 survey. Prabhakar is saying 3 minutes. No. Unfortunately, Victoria is saying 47 seconds. Girish is saying 20 minutes. Rekha is saying 6 seconds. Barbara is saying 30 minutes. Jayendran saying 2 minutes. Surabhi is saying 6 to 7 seconds, almost close there. So the average human attention span in 2025 is 8.25 seconds. In 2000, that is 2 decades ago, it was 12 seconds. The irony is it's literally fallen down. And this is shorter than a goldfish's attention span. A goldfish's attention span is how many seconds? Prem has mentioned the answer there, 9 seconds. That's exactly what is the goldfish's attention span. The harsh reality is that ours is 8.25. And even what do I say? Difficult is to understand that the Gen Z average span is 6 to 8 seconds of attention. That's the shortest across all generations. And thanks to the world that we are in, we have a lot of Gen Zs coming our way. And, and imagine delivering sessions to the Gen Zs or having to work with the Gen Zs with an understanding that the attention span is just 6 to 8 seconds. So it's not about them, it's about us. How do we kind of curate that experience for them so that the attention is not really cut? All of us are struggling to maintain sustained focus. 70% of us cannot focus on a task more than 20 minutes at a stretch. Notifications from all angle is going to interrupt us. And 60% of us keep switching screens every 10 seconds. I'm not saying all these are the data that we've picked up from certain, famous articles and forums. So digital behavior is absolutely declining. And all of us, the survey also says that most of them look at their phones dash times per day. Fill in the blanks. How many times in a day do you think an average person looks at their phone? Want to take a guess? 1,000. Is it for us to change or them? That's a good question. Million, 1,000, 200. 96 times per day is the average. Well, of course, we'll talk about that, Prabhakar. I mean, it is a two-way street. It's just not about us to change. It's absolutely about them as well. But right now, as facilitators, what we intend to do is, can we do it the right way? Is the question, of course. And once we do it the right way, we'll go back and ensure that the other party also is in sync. But I think it's important for us to ensure that we do it the right way. And tech isn't the problem. The design is. That's exactly what we're trying to say here as well. It is not about the tech, it's about the design. Do you know how you're designing it? Do you keep the learner at the center, or you're designing it just because you have to design it? So these are certain questions that will help us penetrate further to get things right. Facilitation right now, if you have to define facilitation today, it is orchestrating attention, interaction, and application as well. Anything without applicability is not going to do any good. So when you are in the zone of, let's say, facilitating or designing a program, so these are certain nuances that you will need to keep in the mind. So Ruby says, that's why I love the Gagne's first step and create a hook. Absolutely. But we need to keep doing it again throughout the session. That's absolutely there, Surabhi. I totally second what you're saying. If you don't hook the audience, you kind of lose them. And there's this traffic rule that is traffic rule as a framework that is used. Traffic rule. So it's the red, amber, and green. Yeah, that's the traffic rule. Agreed? We all follow traffic rules. Thumbs up. And what we're trying to say here is, it is between 20 to 30 seconds that the audience would decide if they want to listen to you or no. So the minute facilitator would begin, the audience would stay in the amber zone. That's where they actually stay. Amber is like, should I not? I mean, I'm ready to do either. So the minute we start speaking, the facilitation begins. If you don't kind of hook them from amber, the listeners would absolutely move to the red zone, which means to say that they're not hooked. They don't like it. They're not in for it. And they believe that whatever you're going to tell them is not in their favor, and it's absolutely not going to work. So they've shifted, they've drifted. So the minute you can turn them from amber to a green zone, you know for a fact that you've already hooked them, and they know that they're going to get something out of that session. And when people understand that they're going to get something out of the session that is going to help them, they will stay hooked. So that's the red, amber, and the green zone. And this is very, very important for us as facilitators. I mean, not only as facilitators, anytime we go back and have a conversation during a meeting as well, if we have to get audience's attention, well, this is something that can help us as well. Okay, let's move to the next slide, and we'll talk about, or rather, I'll introduce you to something called the virtual trap. That's in Prabhakar saying we hooked to green now. I'm glad. Thank you. The virtual trap, in most virtual sessions, we unintentionally design experiences that only stays in the bottom levels of what you see, the colored ones there. The remember, understand of Bloom's taxonomy. That's the trap. Now, before I get into that, I would like to understand, do you all understand Bloom's taxonomy? Yes. Dr. Anand is saying, I believe that attention shrinks for learners if they are just pushed into a learning training but haven't been told what's the importance. Absolutely. Yes. So we all understand Bloom's taxonomy. It's a globally recognized framework that's used in the learning design, and it has 6 levels of thinking, and it's from remember to the most advanced, that is create. That's just a quick information about the Bloom's taxonomy. In the most virtual sessions, we unintentionally design experiences that stay at the bottom 2 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. That's remember and understand. And that's the trap that we're actually talking about. So the question that I have for all of you is, do you fall there? Do your sessions fall there? Have you thought about it? And that's exactly the trap. And when our virtual session only stay there, our learners become passive listeners. This is exactly where you see a lot of them turning off their camera, they're multitasking, or the Zoom fatigue, kicks in because the brain is yet not activated. And when you actually look at this, remember and understand, these are the 2 levels that's absolutely easy to design because, it's about reading slides, listening to explanation, answer simple question, that's it. So that's exactly where they're least engaged and they're least it's the least effective stage because it's not, the true learning is absolutely not happening anymore. So when we operate out of these bottom of the pyramid, people may understand the content. They know it. I mean, these days people are very smart and information is available in a jiffy. But the point is, they will not be in a stage to go back and apply that. They're not in a position to go back and analyze situations. Even if they put it, into a situation, despite the fact that they've attended these trainings, they've attended all of this, it's not going to help them curate a solution or probably get out of the, situation, because they don't have the understanding to analyze that. Why? Because we were stuck to just remember and understand. They don't have the option of evaluating options, and they certainly can't create any behaviors or output. So these kind of sessions will just become the information dump and definitely not learning experiences. And that's why it's important for us to kind of move way beyond that. So the 3 to 6 that you can that you can look at, that's the apply to create. That's exactly where the high impact learning would happen. Apply is where people can go back and use the skill. A breakout, maybe you talk about something, you share the knowledge, and then probably use the breakout scenarios to go back and test the skill, use the skill as a group, and analyze, evaluate, create. Of course, I mean, if they're in a position to build something new, a plan or a script, etc., that's amazing. So these are active learning levels, and this is exactly where our transformation happens. So next time you go back and look at this pyramid in itself, or rather you work on a program, a design, it's a test for you to understand, okay, which level, where have you reached? Are you, is this particular design going to help the participant create or synthesize on the learning, put that into perspective where the transition can happen? So that's the kind of question. And how can we do that? How can somebody apply? How can somebody analyze? How can somebody go back and create a solution thanks to the, learning design, thanks to the programs? So that's where it is. So, Prabhakar is saying in classroom it's easier, but in virtual it sounds tougher, isn't? Yeah, it is. It is absolutely tough. I totally second that. But then there are ways for us to kind of chunk it and ensure that we at least get to the best, Prabhakar. So what are those means? And for that, it's important for us to understand the kind of audience. Do we have only the Gen Zs, or do we have a mix of millennials, Gen Zs, and the Generation X? Do we have people who are from the leadership team? Do we have people who understand what we're trying to speak, or are they from the other side of the world? These are certain checks that we can keep in the mind to ensure that we curate learning designs, keeping the audience in the mind. Plus, add a lot of role plays, simulations. Yes, like Surbi mentioned, gamifications in between as well. I mean, if the organization does not really have too much of budget per se, but I mean, it could be a simulation that's easily doable. And these days, the learning partners, I mean, it could be Skillsoft or LinkedIn for that matter. We have amazing simulations that's kind of embedded as a part of learning. So it's kind of the blended learning. It's like packed, isn't it? These days, learning are just not virtual driven or just instructor led. You can utilize these forums or platforms to go back and let the participants practice. For example, let's say I'm doing presentation today and I go back to, let's say, a Skillsoft to practice all these behaviors. In Skillsoft, it is specifically called cases. In LinkedIn, they actually have the simulators. So, and it will also give you feedback in terms of how you're doing. So these are certain nuances that can be stacked together to ensure that the program that you design, the learning design that you design, can absolutely, create an impact. So this is the virtual trap that we need to kind of keep in the mind and understand how do we kind of move away from that. And it's not that it's consciously done. Sometimes it just happens. It's just that we'll have to be mindful when we curate our learning programs. Let's move to the next one. Please feel free to, stop me at any given point of time or put your questions or thoughts in the window so that we can discuss. I mean, like I mentioned, all of you are seasoned facilitators, or you already know it, and then it would be great to hear from your side of the story as well. So let's see, how do we move the pyramid up? What are things that can help us? So Bloom's level and the digital action. What can help in the digital world? Now, for people to remember, of course, the polls and the quiz. Now, for example, let's say it's a continuous learning journey. You could probably have a test to understand where do they stand in terms of knowledge. Do they already know? These are certain questions that we have in our mind for us to understand what kind of audience do we have. And certain times it's difficult for us to understand the complete story of the audience. So these kind of polls in the beginning will kind of help you understand how do you want to kind of march towards your learning. Because a lot of times when we don't have complete information of the audience pre-hand, instantly these kind of polls can help us understand. So ask them to rate in terms of the skill that you're talking about, or a couple of questions to understand, quiz to understand what's their knowledge, what's the knowledge level. So that will give you an understanding that okay, 50% of them do not know that well, let's say 20% of them are average, and we also have 10-15% of them who know it and who've done that. So how do you want to tweak your conversation? What kind of examples do you want to keep in the mind? What kind of information do you want to share? It has to be a combination when you have a combination audience. Now, assuming that your audience do not know it, if you don't consider the 30 and the 15%, you only attend to the 50% of the audience, you still fail. So it has to be the intelligence lies in there, where we can go back and do that kind of a quick check for us to understand, and then go back and plan accordingly. Paraphrasing, I mean, understand, you could probably, the paraphrasing technique can help. Apply, of course, Zoom has lovely breakout rooms. My Teams has got, breakout rooms. So, you could probably segregate the audience to understand and give them a role play, or give them a scenario, put them into a spot and ask them to check how do you want to navigate all of this. So that's practice rooms. That's exactly, we reach the apply stage. Analyze when all of them come back to the session, and then probably look at how different teams are stating or performing, and that way they will be in a position to go back and do a comparison, and they'll come back and say, okay, group A's solution is better than a group B. Why? Because, and then they have the structured debate. That's evaluation stage that they get into. And then finally co-create, we agree to the fact that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the, certain behavioral aspects, or any learning for that matter, that could be picked up and we can start applying. Just an example, of course, this can be used in whichever manner, but higher engagement is a design choice. If we don't do that, well, of course, it's going to just go flat. So this is how we can move up the pyramid, and a few examples that we can apparently use in the mind. And in between, of course, you can also check if the audience are aligned. You can ask them to raise their hands to, just give a thumbs up in terms of, are you aligned? Is there any questions? Now, for example, that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Are you all aligned until now? We've been talking for the past 20 minutes. Are you in sync? Is it making sense? A quick thumbs up if you think so, or a chat. You could respond in the chat window as well. Right. So this is kind of validate. It's not I'm not sure validation is the right word, but then this is for us to be in sync. And we know for a fact that, the audience is definitely with us. Okay, on that note, I'm going to share with you an interesting framework, and something that I have that's quite close to my heart, because this is something that I've used throughout. And this is called the Engage framework. We'll talk about it in the next slide, and that's the Engage framework that can help us get better. And let's see what that is. Engage framework. That's the next slide. Pratibha, please move to the next one. So it's a simple one, all right? But it's absolutely powerful. If you want to design and deliver high impact virtual learning experiences, you should definitely keep this in the mind. It's the Engage framework. So this would apparently, talk about the step-by-step roadmap to keep your learners present, active, and absolutely invested from the time they come in till the time they move out. And that's why you see the E and the E E in the beginning talks about the entry experience. E towards the end talks about the exit experience, So that's something that this particular framework will help you with. Now let's understand what that is. E is the entry experience because it's the most important aspect. This is the moment where the learners will arrive, and this sets the emotional tone for everything that follows. And the traffic rule that I spoke about is exactly applicable here, because this is where they want to analyze, okay, do I want to pay attention? Do I not want to pay attention? That's exactly when the facilitators, it's the facilitator's job to ensure that they hook the audience. Now, how do you want to hook the audience is absolutely your choice. But can you give me some examples to hook the audience? What do you think can be a couple of ways to hook the audience? How do you turn people from amber to a green zone? Shocking statements, yes. Alarming statements, absolutely. What else? What else? Facts, absolutely. Facts. Statistics, like you did today. Okay, sure. I also called out a couple of numbers, sharing with something that they can relate to, experience. Yes, what's in it for them? What else? What else? A story. Also tell them using metaphors. Yes. Giving audience the opportunity to speak and share experience, a warning. Yes, whatever. And it could be humor as well. It could be, I mean, because a lot of them are great at it. And the fact is, in case you think you're not great at humor and you try humor, and if it falls flat, the facilitator's confidence will go for a toss. So you need to know what hook you think will work the best for them and for you as well. Yes, short stories can help. I still remember one of the session that I was attending, and then it was a great one. And the faculty started like this. The question was, at what degree would the water boil? What degree would the water boil? Okay, this is like off. Okay, Prabhakar says 100. No, at 100 it becomes steam. 99. Ideally, it is said that 99-degree water starts boiling. And the 1% more to it, water becomes steam. And that can run the steam engine, And that's the 1% that is important. So the faculty apparently started a statement like that and then said, it's just that 1% that can matter. And that 1% could be you paying attention to the session and using that and applying that in your life. And you would probably move like a steam engine. That was the kind of a metaphor that was used. So that kind of hooked the audience. I mean, it definitely hooked me for sure. I love that kind of example. And it set the stage for him for sure in the rightest way. So entry is very, very, very crucial. And then we have the navigation clarity. In virtual spaces, people kind of lose very quickly if they don't know why they're here. I'm not going to spend my 60 minutes listening to somebody and wasting my energy. It's just not the time, because sitting down and listening to somebody is also quite an effort. Why would somebody want to waste that effort? I mean, that's loss of energy. They wouldn't do that. So it's important for us to understand that this is where we need to give them the clarity. Tell them what's in it for them. You're going to get this. If you start applying this framework, you will be able to design fantastic frameworks, high impact virtual learning experiences. That's my promise to you if you do it the right way. Now, when you tell them that, give them that clarity, why they're listening to you, why they're listening to the Engage framework, people would want to know more about it. Guided interaction is important as well, because this is where we move beyond talking to the participants and we start engaging with them, which we make them feel comfortable and start engaging with them. Application first is important. Rather than waiting until the end, we kind of give learners a chance to apply the concept early. I mean, of course, in these kind of 60 minutes discussion, there's no scope for us to go back and, look at the applicability bit of it, but maybe you can call that out. But in a scenario where you have enough and more time and you have kind of assigned some time for these practice, it's a fantastic way to do it. Any learning design that you curate, please keep in mind that you need to have some time for the applicability bit of it in whichever manner. right? So it could be a simple scenario, a quick decision, or a real life example, or put somebody on the stage to just check on them in terms of what they think. What do you think, or what would you do if you were? And give them scenarios like that. And energy, group energy is important. Energy does not happen on its own. We will have to design it, and it is contagious. If you are not very happy about what you're doing, it becomes very, very, very difficult. People will not be engaged. So it is contagious. And when I say that, the audience should feel the energy, and they should, and the energy has to match. And for that, it's important to know how you put your thoughts across. How do you sound? There's this framework that I have been using for a while, and I'm sure most of you would know it. It's called the VESPA technique, where as a faculty, it's important for us to keep the VESPA in the mind. Now, what does that stand for? I'm going to quickly tell you. Ensure your volume is up to the mark. When I say that, please ensure you're not too low or you're screeching away to glory. So ensure that the last person sitting in the classroom is able to hear you. In the virtual setup, just ensure that your audio, visual, all of that is taken care. That's the volume. E is the energy bit. You'll have to mean what you say. It's just not about saying, okay, the engage framework is an important framework. It's going to help us in the visual, curate a learning experience. It falls flat. When you have to say something, say that with conviction. You'll have to believe that, and demonstrate that energy, and that's energy. So literally meaning what you say so that the other person would trust you. And if you don't have that energy, there's no way that the other person is going to trust you. So that's the E factor. S is the speed, the rate of speech. Ideally, it's called speed or the speech. Normally, it is said that 120 to 100 words per minute is ideal when you speak. If you go less than one, I mean, it again depends, because there are certain regions where people really talk fast, and everybody talks fast. And so in a space like that, it's okay. Maybe even if you go at a 150, 160, because all of them follow the same speed, it's fine. And there are certain places where the entire region would speak slow. So I mean that's the style. So it's okay. But when we have a mixed crowd, the normal way for us to keep in mind, or the rate of speech is, the ideal is 120 to 140 words per minute. Slow, it gets a little, probably people would not really feel enthused about it. If you're too fast, you just fumble, mumble, rumble, jumble, people wouldn't understand what you're trying to say. It's not going to add any value either. So that's it's not the typing speed, it is the speaking speed. So there are apps, multiple apps that can help us understand what's the speed. Or the best way to do it is, you could probably copy paste 120 to 140 words and then start recording, and don't read it. You'll have to say that in a conversational style so that you know for a fact that it is between that. So that's what is ideal. P is pitch. We all know that, and that's intonation per se. I mean, pitch, right? And ensure that your intonation is taken care of. Whenever you want the audience to listen to you and it's important, go high, let them know that it's important, and then come down. So, you'll have to pitch accordingly rather than just going in a monotone way. And of course, keep your accent absolutely neutral. It's important for us to have a neutral accent so that, people would understand what you're saying. So it's about comprehensibility. Let me put it that way. I mean, maybe accent would mean different things for different people. But what we're trying to say here is it has to be absolutely comprehensible, as simple as that. So that's equally important as well when we go back and facilitate. So that's exactly when the energy is taken care of. And towards the end, of course, exit with ownership. The close of the session must create commitment, clarity, and carryover. If the session is not gonna put them into the reflection mode, we failed. Because just listening to something and then not really hovering around it or not applying it in the near future, I'm sure all of us know the forgetting curve. Very easy for people to go back and forget things. So yes, it's important for us to do a recap. I mean, when they come back to sessions, of course, it's important for us to do a recap. But what if it is just a standalone session and we're done with the session after 4 hours? They're gone. So, giving them micro actions, pick up on certain behavioral aspects that you want them to kind of work on, give them a micro mini assignments of sorts, and then create a group where they can come back and share their experience as well. And probably do a quick 20 minutes session where they can come back and share their experience as well. So put that as an important one. So even when you go back and talk to the business about, this is what we've curated based on the needs, we also want to plug in these practice pods, a 15 minutes practice pod, where people can come back and share their experience. So when we do that, we see that 60% of them come back, the 40% might not, but it's okay. For a fact that those 60% folks are the ones who would diligently want to put in their effort to kind of get going. So that's a fantastic way to ensure that the learning is absolutely durable. Of course, there are a couple of things in detail. That's the overall engage framework, but we'll still go back and quickly go through the slides. So let's move to the next one, Pratibha. The next slide talks about the same engage framework and certain rules out there. Entry experience, no passive opening, start with interaction, not slides, curiosity, polls or provocations immediately, and then navigation clarity. We've spoken enough and more, but a quick recap for us as well to ensure that we've understood it the right way. Uncertainty kills engagement. Reduce cognitive load by explicitly stating what they will do, what they will interact, and what would they leave with, what's in it for them, basically. Let's move to the next one. Next slide talks about G, the guided interaction. So, like I said, this is exactly the stage where we move beyond talking at we start engaging with them. We listen to them. So all your breakouts, your reflective questions, your reactions, your whiteboard activities, whatever collaborative activities that we're talking about, all sits in here. So the guidance will apparently ensure that the interaction is not really chaotic, but meaningful. And as a facilitator, we'll have to be super careful about ensuring that it's not chaotic and then it's going in the right tangent. Because when we allow participants to talk or share their experience, it's amazing. They come up with a lot of experiences, but certain times it might not really fit the bill. And for us, if we have an agenda and if we want them to learn a certain thing and we only have stipulated time to do that, it's important for us to ensure that we move the discussion pointer to that tangent, and that's the responsibility of the facilitator, not by directly putting the other person on the spot saying that, hey, listen, that does not make sense for the conversation right now. It could be by asking them certain open-ended questions or closed-ended questions and helping them move to the right direction as directed. So 5 to 7 minute rule: if learners don't touch the keyboard, they drift. Interaction is absolutely important. So please keep in mind, you let them go back and touch the keyboard in the span of 5 to 7 minutes in terms of asking them, are we okay? Are we all doing well? Any question? So G is guided interaction, Prabhakar. That's guided interaction, right? So that's the guided interaction that we could go back and look at. So let's see what's next. The next slide talks about A, that is application bit of it. This is amazing. The old way to do it, the newer way to do it. The older version of it, lecture them, give them example, and then tell them, you know what, this is what it is, go back, try, and come back later. Gone are those days. We don't do that anymore. The newer way is let them apply, let them reflect on what just happened, and then bring in the concept. What happened there? Why did that happen? That's the beauty. I mean, that's an amazing way to do that. So if we can kind of shift the gears, well, I think it's important, and it can kind of hook the audience in the right way as well. That can help us, penetrate better is what I mean. Don't lecture, then practice, then reflect. That's what it is. And this targets the analyze level of Bloom's immediately. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. And the next slide talks about the conductor. That's the energy and the exit, which is very important. In virtual learning, I did mention that energy does not happen on its own. It has to be designed. We'll have to put in that effort to kind of design it. So we can use the pace, variety, movement, VESPA, what we spoke about, storytelling, humor, any cues for that matter, so that the group can be engaged. And this is exactly how we kind of fight the monotony or the Zoom fatigue, if that's called. So these are certain nuances that can help us fight the fatigue. And of course, exit with ownership. When we say that, we definitely want people to go away with something. I mean, otherwise the investment is investment does not make sense at all. So a clear takeaway. Ask people in terms of what has been their clear takeaway. And do not expect people to take away the entire 60 minutes of whatever session. Maybe most of us in the session right now, I'm sure whatever we've discussed, I'm sure you all know 70, 80, 90% of whatever we've been discussing. But it's just that reinforcement or reflection per se that's going to help. So ask them to state the clear takeaway, or ask them what is your next course of action. What do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? What do you want to continue doing? So this can be another way to kind of exit in a really good fashion. And in case there are any flashcards or any, cheat sheets or whatever you want to call it, just give them that and then ask them to use that. Or if there's any flashcard, they can go back and put that back on their desk, or in case they're working from home, it's okay. They could probably save it somewhere and then go back and take a print and put it at their home as well. I mean, so that the it keeps reiterating. And that's exactly where the learning changes to a behavioral change. When it's constantly revisited is when the behavior change can happen. And that's exactly when that becomes noticeable as well. So that's the conductor, energy, and the exit. Because anytime learning ends without action, it's entertainment. People will love it. They like it. You go back and tell them, oh, it was fantastic, So even if you go back and Patrick's model, and then it will come back and say that, yes, it was interesting. But at a later stage, what is it that the impact per se? Well, that's where people would kind of go blank, because it was entertaining. It was fun. I loved it. But what next? It didn't get translated. All right. So, beyond that, there's 3 levels of engagement as well. I understand we have only 7 minutes, but I quickly want to take you all through that as well. Are you all in sync? I mean, are you with me? Do you all have you enjoyed the engage framework? Was that helpful? Cool. Perfect. So let's move to the next one. We talk about 3 layers of engagement, and it's an absolutely fantastic way to kind of go back and reflect on, trust me. So what we're trying to say here is, okay, let's just take this example. Let's say you're in this session and I'm going to just launch a poll, and I say, click the option that applies to you. Okay. And let's say you click it, and that's it. I launch a poll, I ask you to choose something, you click, and I close it. That's it. And how fair is it for me to expect that you've learned something out of it? You would not learn anything. You'll not feel anything. You'll not connect with anything. They often confuse, clicking with engagements. What we'll need to understand is true engagements are segregated into 3 different layers or levels. It is far beyond just like the click. And this particular model will help you understand the 3 layers of engagement. That's emotional, social, and cognitive. It's like the peeling of the onion. The deeper you go, the more powerful the learning gets. So the first layer, whatever you're looking at, the first layer here, that's the emotional layer. That's the core, because engagement actually happens at the center. That's the emotional layer. Learning is emotional no matter what. And people, learn when something really matters to them. And it's about something that has affected them, that can help them get better. That's when we touch this particular layer. Whenever emotion comes into picture, that's exactly when the brain sparks and it says, you know what, pay attention. Absolutely pay attention. Right? So those kind of examples can kind of trigger the emotional bit of it. Now the social layer, once the emotions are activated, we move to the outer layer, and that's the social layer. This is where connection happens. connection does not just happen with the content, but it happens with each other as well. Right. So, now, for example, if you have the breakout activities, then you could probably ask somebody to be the timekeeper, somebody to summarize, somebody to challenge, somebody to, have that discussion. So that's exactly when they're talking, debating, they do using examples, this peer learning, etc. So when all of this happens, that's exactly when the social layer is activated. The human connection will happen, and that's the second layer of level of engagement. They are truly getting in. And then the final layer, that's the cognitive layer, that's the thinking work. So it's the outer layer, and this is exactly where the brain will start activating. It's activated, it analyzes, it applies, it thinks, and it would talk about, okay, this is the content, this is how I apply, and this is where the knowledge will turn into understanding, and then it becomes applicability. And that happens in this particular layer, that's the cognitive layer. So it's important for us to understand that you can create a learning experience by keeping all of this in the mind. It's just not about a click, it's just not about some fun questions or some humor alone. It's a combination of all of this that will actually help us build beautiful learning experience for people. Okay, quickly, let's go back, and now that we've understood all of this, Prabhakar, what should be our exit? Exit with exit has to be absolutely important. But the fact that exit with key takeaways, let people go back and reflect. Okay, so it's important for us to ensure that we let people go with takeaways and some action items so that the learning is meaningful. Perfect. Okay, I would also want you to look at the last bit. Before that, I have a question for you. What are certain challenges that you have faced in terms of okay, sorry about that. Yeah, what are certain issues that you have faced as a facilitator? I mean, of course, I did give you those options, but I really want to understand in terms of, if something that stands out in your mind, what is that? And something that you've been facing for quite some time right now. Beyond whatever, is there anything else that has come back as a, you know, something that you've been a part of and that you've not been able to go back and find solution of? I'm just curious, maybe because we're in a group, maybe it's the best way to kind of put that up across as well. Dealing with okay, management, senior management can sometimes interrupt, hijack, and changing mindset and post sessions. Okay. Adding value, dealing with subject matter experts who don't channel, minimal attendees, right? Senior management can interrupt, hijack sessions, correct. So, the best way to look at it is we have certain things that's under our control, certain things that is not under our control. So whatever can be controlled, or certain things, I mean, for example, management coming back and, hijacking the sessions, or probably, minimal attendance. All these are certain things that we'll have to set really straight with the business, stating that these are our expectations. We'll not be able to take ownership of everything that we do. So the business, it is partnership, isn't it? It's not one-way street, it is partnership. So it's important for us to kind of go back and call out as learning or faculties, or, from the learning side of the world. It's important for us to go back and tell them that, if we have to ensure that this outcome is taken care of, we will need to partner. Right? So that's exactly how we'll have to go back and deal with it. Engage diverse participant, different levels of knowledge, etc. Absolutely. Right. Perfect. All right. So the next slide apparently talks about the challenges and the facilitator response. I would like you to kind of go back and read. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to share with you the framework, the snippet of this framework, so that you all can save it or have it as a reference. Okay. That's the engage framework. Please go back, read this, and let me know if you have any questions. Great. Okay, I'm just checking if you have any questions. Please feel free to unmute and ask your question. Okay. Bloom's taxonomy is about cognitive domains. What?
Sheena, we haven't
Okay,
given
yes.
access of the mic.
Okay.
But if you want, I can give them the access of mic as well.
I think so. If that's okay, please give them access to mic, or you can put that in the window as well. I see there's a question from Reem saying that I have a Bloom's taxonomy is about cognitive domain. So about how about roles of affective and psychomotor? So I think all the three are important,
One
isn't it?
second.
I mean, when you talk about cognitive, it is thinking your intellectual skills for that matter. When you talk about affective, it is emotions, your attitude. Psychomotor is how do you go back and apply those skills, isn't it? So when we design any program for that matter, we'll have to ensure that all the three buckets are taken care of. There are nuances that, I mean, the cognitive aspect is already there. So how can we add the emotions, attitude and the values per se there? So once we kind of put all the three perspective and then design a learning journey, I think it is going to be more effective. But of course, cognitive domain is the most important domain. But we can't really go back and not really consider the other two domains too. So when we can have all the three in together, is when we can design a holistic learning program. Is what I think.
So, participant, we have given you the access of mic. Please feel free to ask any question. Meanwhile, Sheena, we do have a few questions from the participant of LinkedIn and YouTube. So, the first question is, what are the biggest challenge organizations face today in virtual learning delivery, and what practical strategies actually work to overcome them?
Okay. And when we talk about organizations and virtual learning, well, we've seen quite a bit of it from not the audience not being engaged, and probably not the content not being relatable, or maybe a miss from the faculty side, where probably the faculty was not able to deliver it in the right manner. By not understanding why we've invited participants for the session, I mean, by not understanding the why of it, the minute we go back and understand the why of it, the rest of it will absolutely, will make sense. So whenever we design any kind of learning program, it is important for us to understand why are we doing it in terms of the organization per se as well. And then why are we choosing whoever we're choosing to attend this particular training is also important. When we don't do this, when this is missed, well, I think we kind of fail miserably. So that's something that comes to my mind with that question.
Thank you so much for the amazing and grateful answer.
Okay, there's a
So,
question from Surabhi. Can
yes,
I take that, Pratibha?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
do
sure.
you have? Okay, sure. There are organizations that are running behind the last trends, but the audience does not see any value and sees it as forced. How does one deal with that? So, Surabhi, it's important for us to also understand the kind of audience. Like I mentioned, a lot of them are visual, a lot of them are kinesthetic, a lot of them, you know, the traditional way of learning will not really make any sense. With AI coming in, it's important for us to also understand that it's AI augmented mindset that's important. Understand how can you learn and also involve the AI. And coming from the learning side of the world, it's important for us to also understand how can we kind of move to the trend that's move to what is trending. um, Simulations, or for that matter gamifications, are very easy right now. I mean, a lot of platforms kind of give us that option. Now if we kind of if we force any kind of learning to the audience, it's just forced. For a fact that learning can never be pushed. The minute we go back and push learning, it's going to fall flat. It's just going to fall flat. It has to be a pull. So we'll have to understand how do we want to do the pull factor and ensure that we pull the audience to the learning. And that can happen only when we modify the way we curate learning programs by keeping the learning at the learner at the center, and also ensure that we understand the nuances better. We understand how to use the latest ways of learning as well. So it's a combination of all of this, and then it would convert into a pull rather than a push, and people would probably want to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for the grateful answer, Shina. So we have one question from the participant of LinkedIn and YouTube. So, how can learning and development leaders ensure accessibility, inclusion, and equitable learning experience when delivering training to remote and hybrid team across regions and time zones?
Okay. It's not easy for sure. It's definitely not easy, but the fact that we will have to do our due diligence to understand where are we getting our faculty, I mean the participants from, which part of geography, understanding their culture. So even before we get into running a training program or facilitating the session, if the due diligence is not really taken care of, it's not going to serve the purpose. So we'll have to be very careful of doing the due diligence and also ensuring that we give enough and more opportunities for the participants to utilize the learning to the T. And that happens when we give them opportunity to speak, when we have a mixed group. Now, for example, maybe spend some time and then curate the breakout groups yourself, where you can probably have a mix rather than just leaving it to a manual way of automatically doing the groups that way. So this way we can ensure that we have the right kind of mix and the right kind of
Uh, Sheena, we are not able to hear you. So, participant, I think Sheena has lost the connection. Let me just ask her to connect quickly. And meanwhile, if you have any question, please feel free to ask into the chat box. And as we are running out of the time, so we'll be able to take two or three more question, and then we will be moving forward to wrapping up the session, because as we do understand, today is Friday. So for many of you, this is a weekend night. For many of you, it's morning. Many of you, it's midday. So, okay. So, this Sheena is having a little bit issue with the laptop. So we will just wrapping up the session. So, let me just quickly share my right. Okay. So if any of the participant have been want to get certified into the learning and development, so now the certifications are available onto our website. What you can do, you can just go into our website, and we are giving you a 20% off coupon code discount. So the coupon code link I'm sharing into the chat box. Please don't miss out. So if you want to get certified into learning and development, just check out our website, opt for the certification, use the coupon code link, and get certified. I'm also sharing Sheena's LinkedIn ID into the chat box so that you can connect with her directly. And if you have any guidance or if you need any assistance, I'm sure she would be happy to help you out, guys. So before wrapping up the session, I just wanted to make a quick announcement regarding the utility tool. So as I have started introducing this tool, I have already started receiving a lot of positive feedback about it. That this tool has helped them for getting a job, in their job hunting journey. So what you can do if you're on your job hunting journey, use the utility tool, log in by your LinkedIn ID and password, and this tool will give you a recommendation according to the job designation you are targeting and the industry you are targeting. And it will re-improvise your LinkedIn profile and make your resume stand out in front of the HRs and recruiters. So if you're on your job hunting journey, please do take the help of this utility tool. And making your job hunting journey even more easier, we are giving you a complimentary coupon code to all of our participants, which will give you 100% off. I have shared the coupon code link into the chat box so that you don't miss out. So if you're in a job hunting journey, take the help of utility tool and make your job hunting journey easier. And all the best to all job hunters out there. So this week we had a lot of great session, a lot of impactful session with different speaker on different topic. So we are going to have one more impactful session in our upcoming week. So this will be the second and last part of the series of learning and development reset, redefining skills and strategies and business impact for the year ahead. And it will be conducted from 2nd Feb to 6th Feb at 9:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 p.m. Singapore, 9 p.m. Indian, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So I'm hoping to see you all in next week as well. And if you're an AI enthusiastic people, so we are going to have one more impactful week of the session for must know AI strategies series for automation to autonomous intelligence in business. And this is going to be conducted from 2nd Feb to 6th Feb at 7:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Singapore, 7 p.m. Indian, and 8:30 a.m. EST. And if you are one of those people who are more enthusiastic regarding ISO or who wants to learn the ISO leadership, so this webinar is for you, because we are going to have one more impactful session in next upcoming week for ISO leadership and reset building a resilient, secure, and accountable enterprises. So this is going to be conducted from 2nd Feb to 6th Feb at 8:30 a.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Singapore, 8 p.m. Indian, and 9:30 a.m. EST. So it's time to celebrate our referral champion. So today we have Bhainu Durgesh, EBI, and Avinash Kumar. Special thanks to all three of you for helping us amplify our initiative and reach it to the wider global audience. So if you want to be one of our knowledge professional and advisors, so if any of your peers, colleagues, and professional wants to join for this webinar or any other webinar, so you can refer the registration link via our website, and every referral will earn you a point. So once you hit a 50 referral point, you will be able to get a free $400 worth gift certification voucher. So what are you waiting for? Take the advantage of this offer and become one of our knowledge professional and advisor. So I have one question regarding the code for the tool Jalpin from Jalpin. Jalpin, I have just shared above the utility tool code. So I'm sharing it once again so that you don't miss out. And I am also sharing once again the learning and development code as well, because I'm not sure if you're asking for utility tool coupon code link or the learning and development professional certificate link. So I'm sharing both so that you don't miss out. And if you want to be one of our speaker for learning capsules, for webinar, for podcast, so you can reach out to us at pratibha@gsdccouncil.org and Pritam@gsdccouncil.org. I have shared the email ID into the chat box so that you can reach out to us directly. And we would love to have you as our one of the speaker as well. And these are the platform where you guys can connect with us, our LinkedIn, our WhatsApp, our website. Also, we would love to hear your session key takeaways, and we would love to hear your learning outcomes. We would love to know what are you thinking, what are your feedback, what are your suggestions. So I'm sharing all of the platform links into the chat box so that you don't miss out. And please do share your feedback and suggestion on reviews.io, and we would be happy to hear your thoughts. With that, it's time to come to an end. Thank you so much once again, Sheena, for coming on our platform. Today we had a roller coaster ride of learning and ride of learning journey, and I'm sure our participants have learned a lot. Looking forward to having you in the future session as well. Thank you so much to all of the participants to joining into our learning journey. I'm hoping to see you in next week as well. Till then, keep learning, keep energizing. Have a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are.